Well, liberalism doesn't make sense, Piers.
Good one, Tommy. Didn't she get completely...
So, Tommy believes the following are senseless. 1. Willing to respect or accept behaviors or opinions different from one's own. Open to new ideas. That's senseless? That makes no sense? Well, considering that her opinion, she has a different opinion from the liberals, to say this is senseless is insanity. Either that, she doesn't know anything about liberalism. She's basically saying anyone who is willing to respect or accept behavior from people like her, MAGA, are illogical and senseless. That's what she just said. 2. Relating to or denoting a political and social philosophy that promotes individual rights, civil liberties, democracy, and free enterprise. She thinks this is senseless, if she understands liberalism correctly, which I doubt. So, relating to or denoting a political social philosophy that promotes individual, this isn't right. Nobody should have any of these, or at least nobody should be promoting them. That's what Tommy just said. Okay, noun. A supporter of policies that are socially progressive and promote social welfare. Okay, social welfare is a gray area for me. I'm not saying it should be abolished, but I'm saying that the problem is that we don't have an economy we don't have a system that helps people solve their problem. Maybe someone needs help with something. Maybe certain people are victims of discrimination. Who knows what's going on? So to eliminate social welfare would be stupid, because that's obviously required, because we live in a far from perfect world. I mean, Tommy is the perfect example of that. But she's saying that, this is wrong. She doesn't promote social welfare at all. MAGA believes, it's a GOP thing. MAGA is simply an extreme division of, not even division, a more severe version of the GOP, I guess. I think a lot of people could agree with that assessment of MAGA. Yeah, so promoting social welfare is senseless and illogical, according to Tommy. But yeah, I'm all about problem solving, so obviously we do need it. It's just, in a world run the way I would envision it, social welfare would be a minimal thing, or would be rare. A supporter of policies that are socially progressive. Now, she doesn't like progress, obviously. The question would be, why not? And why is MAGA opposed to the promotion of individual rights, civil liberties, democracy, and free enterprise? That would be the questions there also. Do we need to go into more definitions? Concern with broadening a person's general knowledge and experience. So this is senseless and illogical. Having what does broadening mean? Become larger in distance from side to side, widen. So it is of MAGA's opinion, which Tommy is representing, widening a person's general knowledge and experience are both illogical and senseless, rather than with a technical or
illustrating exactly my point. It's always liberals that are called to do this stupid shit.
And stuff. Would it not have been a smart move in terms of unity had she just taken a moment to acknowledge the assassination attempt and say how pleased she was that he survived it? Something of that nature.
Piers, I find it so bizarre that the onus is always on the Democrats.
Thank you. Yes. True.
Even if the Democrats were all about unity, MAGA is the epitome of social toxicity, and they would just tear that unity apart. Has Piers forgotten that MAGA has defamed the Democrats as pedophiles, Has he forgotten that the Democrats have always been the scapegoats for MAGA's every failed tactical attempt to achieve whatever?
Adults in the room to
Yes.
create unity. Where was everybody for the last 6 years calling for unity when
Yes.
Donald Trump was president?
Yes.
And, you know, as far as the violence is concerned, I feel like any effort to try to pin, again, the onus on Democrats in terms of lowering the temperature in this country is just a testament to the fact that the Republicans are graded on the curve. Remember,
Yes.
it was not the Democrats. While we're talking about political violence, it wasn't the Democrats who laughed at Paul Pelosi being bludgeoned with a
Yes.
hammer. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who called for military tribunals for Liz Cheney. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who laughed at a kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitmer. That was
Do the Second Amendment one. Do the Second Amendment one.
Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats who called for General Mark Milley to be executed. That was Donald Trump. It wasn't Democrats
was-
who
okay, but
posted
Brian,
a
but Brian.
baseball bat photo with Alvin
Okay,
Bragg and
but
threatened
Brian,
death and
but Brian.
destruction if he was charged. So in all of these
Okay.
examples, Piers, it is not the Democrats who've done this. It's not the Democrats who've validated the use of political violence as a tool.
That little attempted interruption there. What's wrong, Piers? Does the truth hurt? Tommy looks so displeased in him, and I'm loving it.
In this country, and it shouldn't
Except
be
in
on
one
the
Hold on. You're making the same moral fiber argument red pillars make, that you're in an open relationship, so you're a poor model for men to follow.
Okay.
Number one, you're not voting for me to be your representative. So it's not even remotely the same thing. Whatever of his leadership of his political career either. Like, why do you keep saying this?
6 million Jews in a Holocaust. So when you do that, that is violent rhetoric.
Piers, if Donald Trump acts like a fascist, it is not the Democrats' fault for calling him a
Well, you're
fascist.
saying he is.
Thank you. True. Yes.
So what is Donald then, if he isn't a fascist? Maybe ask the Democrats why they're criticizing him instead of complaining about the Democrats criticizing him. A little bit too much logic, I think.
He is a yes, say yes. You will own it. Good. A plus. He's say, are you going to say he's acting like a fascist? And he's going to say, thank you. Oh, this must be what my mom feels like when she watches the news and all the crazy people say the things that she likes to hear.
I am calling him a fascist. That's what I'm doing.
Yes. No, you're not going to take no response at all? You have nothing to say to that, Piers?
Okay, let me bring that to you.
By the way, doesn't J.D. Vance call him out?
He didn't. He was equally wrong.
And didn't Donald Trump use language like vermin of the people, like basically echoing the
So do you think it's
language?
right to compare?
That's the best response after those points Brian just laid out. While Tommy just sits there with that arrogant smirk as if Pierce just said something profound there.
him to Adolf Hitler?
I don't like comparing people to Hitler, but I will say that.
But? There's a but here?
There's a
Yeah,
butt there?
Yeah, why don't you...
What the fuck is his obsession with the Hitler comparison? He's obviously upset by that, while he knows he has no argument against it. And again, he doesn't even think to ask, instead of just repeating that shit.
Let him finish his sentence.
Here it comes. Here
Really?
it comes. Yeah.
Well, no, that's not... Never mind, that was too edgy.
Want to play the part of Donald Trump's defender, but let's have
No,
the
no,
guy that
I'm
actually
playing the
does
part
it.
of the moderator.
Actually,
of the show.
both can do it, or all four of you can
No,
do
no,
it. I don't really
Anthony,
care.
try and contain yourself. Who was the biggest mass deporter of people in American presidential?
Oh my God. He's like a broken record. It's the same, like, 5 talking points.
So what if... So what if Barack was guilty of the most deportations? This is similar to people trying to argue that Putin and Bibi didn't do anything while Donald was president. That doesn't make Donald a good president. It makes Putin and Bibi both cowards. They simply waited for the strict parent to leave the room and then misbehave. Donald deporting less illegals than Barack makes them both shitty. It simply means that Barack is worse. Donald was still guilty of the unconstitutional travel ban, which caused lots of people problems because he disabled all Visa cards right away. If the authority does something that affects those who have nothing to do with the crime or the problem, it isn't the solution. MAGA wouldn't have to point their finger at other people and compare if Donald was legitimate.
We're doing this one again? You know Obama's not running for president, right? And now his vice president isn't even running for
It's just
president
their
anymore.
delusional narrative.
Try and contain yourself.
He's the
Who was
best
the biggest
scapegoat.
mass deporter of people in American presidential? Good it.
Democrats are tough on the border, no doubt about it.
No, they were tough on the border. In the past
Obama, Biden, Biden.
See, this yelling over each other could have been avoided if Anthony simply pointed out what I just did. They have their minds set on Barack, so deal with that fallacy from that argument. If they are right, just use it against them.
Biden was good on the border. Thank you.
Don't try
Thank
to
you. Thank you, pal. I agree with you.
Barack Obama, Dianne Feinstein, the late Dianne Feinstein, they were great on the border.
So we know how Democrats. We know how Democrats do it.
No.
How do you guys do it?
Sorry,
And 11 days before the election, that wasn't even the big deal, my friend. The big policy. I'm trying to think. Did Brian on the right kind of say that? I don't remember. Like, if you wanted to argue fascism in terms of Donald Trump's policies on the border, the two.
Made me laugh when I hear Anthony talk about fascism, and one of the criteria is mass deportation, and then he salutes Barack Obama
for being the greatest of a bunch of police officers to walk the street. Don't misquote me, Piers.
Tommy, for being the biggest mass deporter in the history of the United States in terms of any president, which he was. 3 million people he deported, right? So mass deportation is fascism if Trump plans it, but if it's done by Barack Obama, it is a magnificent thing, which Trump.
Okay, if the Democrats are only calling Donald out for it, Piers does have a point. However, Piers is defending Donald, while MAGA idolizes the fat motherfucker. Did Barack have a cult following? Hitler did.
Should aspire to do. I can't quite follow that, can you?
Well, liberalism doesn't make.
Regardless, it's a different tense. When you punish people or you send people to detention, that's kind of like othering them. But I mean, like, it's part of the punishment. It's not necessarily a bad,
We know that. But I'll also say the majority of the American people support mass deportation, including Democrats. We learned about that a couple months ago in a poll. But what I don't understand with Democrats is that.
So that makes deportation acceptable? Tommy criticizes the Democrats, yet the GOP, MAGA being the worst of the GOP, is all about authority, while they also want minimal government, while nobody considers psychology. Deportation should only happen if the immigrant is trouble. If the person was born foreign, the country that immigrant is currently in is not responsible to deal with him. Just send him the fuck back and let his original country deal with the fucker. I think the GOP/MAGA is only using the illegal nature of said immigrants as an excuse to deport them and close the border, treating illegal entry like a serious crime, when the reality is that it's simply a matter of having a talk with these people to find out why. No, this has caused a severe division with the country, which is because nobody is interested in solving problems which is rooted in psychology, only to defend psychotic and antisocial ideologies. That's the only reason these quote debates ever happen.
That they're just clutching their pearls over a mass deportation effort when we have 10 million people that came across our southern border illegally, and that's not including the gotaways. They have no problem with that. People can just invade our.
The people that came here, if they're referring to these 10 million people, if you're talking about like the asylum people, that's unfortunately. That's not illegal.
The Democrats are these evil pedophiles, but you guys don't have anything to fucking offer yourselves.
The border shit is just like such an annoying misunderstanding of what's happening at the border. Oh my God. Finishing this.
Kidding me? That's what we need to do, because your president, your sleepy president, allowed 10 million plus people.
Okay, what credibility does this woman have? Who the fuck even is she? She's only angry about an opposing perspective on the issue. Someone doesn't want to get rid of the immigrants and then close the country off to the world, and MAGA is angry about that. To the point of generalized defamation and slander against a fucking political party. Ridiculous.
In, and it's not sustainable. Your own governors and your own mayors know that it's not sustainable. So the open border doesn't work. And the only way to fix an open border is to close it and then also deport the people that came in under it. That's just basic logic. I know you guys don't operate on that.
So the border is the problem, not the illegal entry into America? And this woman said liberalism is senseless. Doesn't sound like logic is MAGA's thing either. If I was to ask her if she would agree with the building agencies to question the illegals, I'm sure she would laugh at me, while she only screams, "Close the border," which isn't even her idea, just a fascist call from the GOP or MAGA.
But please, save me your horror and your outrage.
Okay, Brian, save
Like, imagine how much time would be saved.
Border.
illegally in the tenure of President Biden and not share everybody else's view that is completely unsustainable and clearly has been a failed policy on the southern border. Do you think it's been a success or a failure?
Well, all of this might suggest that we need some legislation on the border. And in fact, we had 3 senators, Kirsten Sinema, Chris Murphy.
No. Psychology, not legislation. Kirsten Sinema? Are you fucking serious? Anyway, enough of this fucking bullshit. Tommy over there just nodding her head whenever Piers opens his stupid fucking mouth.